drain through it, but would drain horizontally into the edge drain. Okay. It could also be a cement-treated permeable base, but in similar fashion, there's an asphaltic subbase underneath. Okay. Could also be an AC base underneath the concrete. Okay, and this shows very important to have edge drains. Edge drains are made of perforated pipes that runs in the longitudinal direction along the edge of the pavement. Okay. It's pipes with holes in them, and it's usually covered with a fabric so the water could drain into it. It's located longitudinal by the pavement. And here's a picture of it. Okay, here's a concrete pavement. We have the permeable base. The water that drains off would drain through this permeable base into the drainage pipe. Okay. And the separator layer is usually an asphalt layer so that the water would not drain through here, but usually drain through this pipe. And this pipe, at some specified intervals, the water needs to drain off from the edge drain to the ditch. So at some specified interval, there will be an outlet pipe that allows the water to drain into the ditch. And this outlet pipe needs to be properly maintained. If this is clogged up, then it won't work. Okay. If it's clogged up, then it's as if it doesn't exist. So it's very important that this outlet pipe is checked all the time. Okay, and pavements are ground so that it's smooth and also it's quiet to drive on. Okay, want to present some other designs, some long life concrete pavement design by other states. This is the design used by Washington State DOT. They designed it to last for 50 years. As you can see, the similar features, very thick concrete slabs because it's meant to last for 50 years. Okay. A widened slab, also same. And in this case, they use a hot mix asphalt base, which is actually bonded to the concrete. And use the transverse joints. And this case, they also use dowel bars that does not get corroded. They use stainless steel or epoxy coated or zinc coated dowel bars so that the dowel bars would not corrode within 50 years. Joint spacing, also now we notice that the joint spacing is much shorter now. Joints are, longitudinal joints are tied together, and also the surface needs to be properly roughened to give not only the smoothness but also the driving texture. And it's by longitudinal tining. Okay. There was a change in design in recent years by the Washington State DOT because they have some problem with asphalt-treated base and cement-treated base with stripping and cracking. And as a result, they changed the design to a dense graded hot mix asphalt as the base. Okay. The surface was finished by longitudinal tines. Basically, they pass this vehicle over it, and there's tines that create this longitudinal grooves that gives the texture, and also it makes the pavement very quiet to drive on. Okay. Minnesota DOT now designing concrete pavement to last for 60 years. Okay. But we see similar features, very thick slab, okay, 330 centimeter, and also they use a dense graded base over granular frost-resistant subbase. Well, Minnesota is very cold country, cold area, so they need to make sure that the subbase material is frost-resistant. They also use dowel bars that would not corrode, stainless steel, plastic-coated or zinc-coated dowel bars. Similar features of short joint spacing. Longitudinal joints are tight, and also the surface is treated with an astroturf or broom drag. What's an astroturf? It's a carpet material. Okay, this astroturf is used as an artificial glass surface on some stadiums, indoor stadiums. Instead of growing grass in indoor stadium, it's hard to grow grass. They use this, but they found a good use of this astroturf that use this. Basically just drag this piece of carpet over the pavement to finish it, and you end up with surface that is, even though it does not look smooth, but it's really smooth to ride on, okay, because of the longitudinal groove, and it gives the skid resistant, but yet it's very smooth to ride on. And I think this concludes my presentation on long life concrete pavement. Thank you very much for your patience. Are there any questions?
Yes. They wonder about the bonding agent. That could you give some example of what is the bonding agent used for bonding the PCC and the base layer together?
Okay. When you have like in the example I've shown, like the Econocrete bonded to the concrete, the best way is to put one layer on top of the other when they are still wet. Okay, and this is known as the wet on wet construction. So they would have two paver. One paver would place the bottom layer, like the Econocrete, and the concrete layer would be placed on top of it when it's still wet. Okay. That would be the best thing to do. Okay, if it's not done this way, if we are placing concrete over asphalt, what we found is that if you mill the asphalt so that you have a rough surface, okay, and then you wet it, spray with some water, wet it, you put the concrete over it, the concrete bonds to it very, very well. Okay, you need to have a rough surface. Okay.
So without any agent?
Yeah, without any agent. But if you are doing, if it's an old pavement, you have concrete, right? And you need to put concrete over it, then you need some, some grout, cement grout to bond it, and that is not for new construction. That is more for rehabilitation. But for new construction, you try to do it when they're still wet.
I noticed the joint spacing is quite short.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
But this is for
the joint spacing is short compared to what was used many years ago. But today, this is typical.
This is for non-reinforced concrete.
Yeah, right. This is for non-reinforced. I did not cover reinforced. Well, reinforced concrete could be wider because continuous reinforced concrete, you could have wider joint spacing.
I also see that in Thailand, we very popular in using reinforced concrete pavement. Our typical joint spacing is 10 meter. Mm-hmm. Comparing to the U.S. is not so favorite on the JRCP, right?
Well, in Florida, we have experience mostly with jointed plain concrete pavement. Yeah, in other states, the states that use continuous reinforced concrete are like Texas, Illinois. Okay, yeah, so they would use a lot of steels, and they also have very good performance, but it's much more expensive. You know, but those pavements are also designed to last for at least 40 years. Yes.
Hello. The rigid pavement is not my area, but got some curious to ask you about the I think Thailand situation. I don't know much about the rigid pavement, but when I drive and saw the construction process, I think for the base or the sub base of the rigid pavement in Thailand, I think normally we use the sand. Yep, to use the sand, but we use the reinforced concrete for the pavement. But I think based on your presentation, you concentrate on very much about the quality of the sub base or the base, whatever. What do you think this one would affect to the performance, the overall performance of the rigid pavement in Thailand situation when we have a look about the quality of the sub base when we use only the sand, which is of course is the permeable material, but I'm not sure about the quality or the specification or something that should be specific to have a look.
Yeah. Here you are using mainly sand, right? And the sand, is it stabilized at the top before you put the concrete over? Is it?
I think it's just
compacted sand. If you compact it really well, as long as if the paver can go over it, that's all it needs. So as you can see from this type of analysis, it does not help to have a stronger subbase. So the subbase needs to be compacted so that you can put the paving equipment over it. Okay? And so I don't think the sand will create any problem. Let's just make sure that you have good drainage. You have the sand is fairly self-draining material, so the water would drain off very well. But how is the water going to be collected? So if you look at the path of water, you need to have some sub-drainage system to get the water out. So how much of the pavements here are concrete pavement? Do you know?
Around 5 to 10%.
And they're mostly continuous reinforced concrete?
Almost 100% is jointed reinforced concrete pavement.
I see. Yeah.
Not continuous.
Not continuous, jointed reinforced concrete. Yeah, with the jointed reinforced concrete, and you have 10 meter
10 meter spacing. Transfer.
Yeah.
But our door bar quite small. We use only 25 millimeter diameter door bars.
Yeah.
Quite small. Consider with. I think most of the US use
like a
bigger size.
Yeah, 1 inch, more than 1 inch
More than
diameter.
1 inch.
Yeah. What kind of problem have you observed?
Someone in the Department of Highways told me that the crushing between the dowel and the concrete sometimes it happens, and then the load transfer become failure, and then we got the crack parallel to the transfer joint on that regards.
Because of the small dowel bar?
Yes, when they dig out the concrete, they found that they support the crushing between the dowel bar and the concrete. That's one issue, but I don't know if they have the record or statistics on the cause of the concrete failure or not, in terms of statistically.
Yeah, originally when the design the concrete pavement design guide, the Astro design guide is based on the result of the Astro road test. But interestingly, the result of the Astro road test shows that there is no difference between reinforced concrete and plain concrete pavement. So basically, for the same amount of traffic and load, whether you use reinforced concrete or non-reinforced concrete, you use the same thickness. And for that reason, a lot of states decide to use plain concrete because you use the design method. Why would you put in extra money for the the steel reinforcement? Okay, but the result shows that it actually, in long term, it makes a difference. But in the accelerated testing, there was no difference.
I have one probably last question. I saw that on the surface of the concrete, you said for FDOT specified that it has to be grounded. This is mean the diamond bit
diamond wheel
machine.
grinding. Yeah, just grind it to meet the smoothness requirement, but with diamond grinding.
So this is to reduce the
rough,
IRI.
Yeah,
the smoothness.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So you do have the problem on the settlement between the clearing of the concrete then. Is that what you mean?
Settlement, you mean after many
construction,
years?
Right after the construction.
Yeah, in the past, apparently there was some problem. But now, it's required that the pavement needs to be ground. No matter what, it needs to be ground. So that if it's ground, then there's no problem because you ground it to meet the requirement.
And it has to be longitudinal direction.
Yeah, for Florida, some states would do transverse. And the advantage of transverse tining is that the water drains off to the side better. But there's problem with smoothness, that it's not as smooth when it's ground this way. When Dr. Bunchai asked me if I can come and give some talk, I gave him 4 possible topics. And I thought that he was going to ask me to just give 1 talk. And he said, is it too much if I ask you to give 3 talks? And I said, well, no problem, because I love to teach. So there's no problem for me at all. During my free time, I also teach people Tai Chi Chuan. And so I really love to teach, so I appreciate you sticking around for so long. And so this topic is on pavement evaluation practices in the US. And this kind of summarizes the main things that I cover in this topic in my class of pavement management systems in the area of pavement evaluation. And most of the slides that I use here are obtained from the Florida DOT Pavement Evaluation Group, so I'd like to give them the acknowledgement here. And so mainly I want to share about how Florida DOT does their pavement condition survey, and then after that I'll share about how they evaluate the pavement for skid resistance. Okay. Well, Florida DOT perform the condition survey on all the pavements under their jurisdiction. They do it once every 2 years. Okay, so every year they would evaluate half of the pavements, and the next year they evaluate the other half. So every 2 years, all the pavement would have been evaluated. Okay. So it's used for It evaluate its condition and ride quality, and also the